What's happening, people? Welcome back to another powerful episode of Marketing by Design. I am your host, Andy. I'm the founder and host of MMG Design here in Columbus, Ohio. And we have a super awesome episode for you guys featuring Mari-Liis Vaher today. But before we do, and we get to learn all about Mari-Liis, everything that she's doing overseas, launching books, going on yacht parties. Yes, you heard that right. From the top, we're going to do our company update that we have been running through every week when we do the show, if you've been around and watching for a while. So, couple quick announcements. We had 2 site launches this week. One was for a white label partner of ours in Dubuque, Iowa. They launched for a library project, which we're super excited about. And the other one was for one of MMG's clients right here in Columbus, Ohio. We launched Huckle Insights website. They are a marketing insights and analytics platform for market researchers and marketing managers. They have a couple of impressive, really cool clients. They work with Bob Evans, Path, and a lot of other local startups here in the scene in Columbus. We just launched them, built them a 6-page, fully custom Webflow website, highly performant, custom UI, custom mockups, a nice little 3-week sprint to get them off of WordPress and onto a clean, refreshed platform. Just check out what Andrew, who is the go-to-market lead over at Huckle, said after the launch. We wanted to take our website to the next level to match the level of sophistication of our platform. We now have a much clearer message after launch, a cleaner website, and a high-tech feel that reinforces confidence in those interested in testing our platform. The workflow of the build was very organized and straightforward, no surprises, and very efficient work. If you guys are in need of any website help, make sure you sign up for a free website audit. We would love to give you some friendly encouragement and offer another set of eyes on what you're dealing with online and help get you fixed up. That'll be in the link below. But introducing our guest today, most importantly, Mari-Liis Vaher. Mari-Liis Vaher is from Estonia, and she is a world-class marketer, tried and true to the very word of the definition. She is an author. She has run 7-figure teams, and a big ethos that I have learned from her that I'm excited to share with you guys as well is just a concept of doing more with less, not burning out your team, focusing on what really matters and getting to the gist of what the actions are actually doing to generate bigger picture insights and making it sustainable. Because especially, and we get a little bit emotional talking about her past and career and her story, which is incredible. You're going to see why it's important to have the North Star in place of making your workflow manageable and not overloading yourself with anything that's above necessary, especially in a world where it seems like you can always do more, but doing better is not as valued. So a huge thank you to Mari-Liis for coming on. She just launched a book called The Greatest Marketer of the World. She's building a global community full of marketing leaders, marketing managers, and also just people who are interested in the industry. So make sure you guys check that out below. And speaking of community, a special thank you to our partners over at AMA Columbus for being the presenting sponsors of this podcast and every episode of Marketing by Design. We're rolling out our suite of events for later this summer. Make sure you guys stay tuned and be sure to come up and say hello to me, the newly appointed VP of membership at the chapter. And I'll shake your hand and get you introduced to some awesome marketers right here in the 614. But without further ado, I'm rambling on. Let's dive right on into entry number 102 of Marketing by Design, featuring Mari-Liis Vaher. But yeah, tell us about your background. For a little context, we met a couple of weeks ago, just had a quick call, but you're building a global community. You have books coming out. You've got a lot of exciting stuff going on. So tell us about Mari and, the roots of where all this stuff happened.
Well, thank you, Andy. Happy to share. I've been over 20 years in marketing. I can't believe it myself as well, but this is exactly how long I have worked within marketing one way or another. But of course, before Powerful Marketers, before the book, before the global community, I was just a business owner, trying to figure it all out. like most of us, let's be honest, we're wearing different hats, right? And together with my husband, I co-founded a marketing company from scratch. And back then, we didn't have, investors or a big team or something. We just had a dream and a clear mission. We just, wanted to help business owners communicate better and become more confident with their sales and marketing, because my husband has been a sales guy pretty much all of his life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and as every business owner, we did everything in-house. We did the strategy, we did the copyright for ourselves. We were project managers and the accountants and the team cheerleader, all of that in one, right? And of course, we learned also through tough experience, that it's very easy to burn out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And and from the outside, it felt like we were very successful because we were able to grow this company into 7 figures in revenue in 5 years. So we were successful, yes, but
Mm-hmm.
but behind the scenes, the pressure was actually building, right? And with growth, of course, came more complexity, more demands, more overwhelm, and and we were scaling chaos,
Mm-hmm.
if I may say so. So, and at some point, we just had to admit that, the same thing so many passionate business owners actually face, that you may have great clients, you may even have a great team and there's even strong service, but if you lack structure and if your systems are reactive, not intentional, then it's, your team and our team, and just like us, you may stretch, too thin, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, well, yeah,
Yeah.
this is the backstory where I'm coming from.
Yeah. No, and I think you're spot on, and I think you can even tell. And because for marketers, it looks one way, right? It's like it's always you're trying to show up on every platform. You feel like you have a responsibility to be everywhere, to do everything. And Mari, have you ever heard of in the States, and this is gonna sound oversimplified, but there's this thing that's called the midwit meme. So it's the premise of it is, hang with me, is that like very dumb people and very smart people come to the same conclusions, right? So the very dumb person, they have this philosophy is like, okay, I just want to post on LinkedIn and really optimize my strategy because that's all I have capacity for. Whereas you get a little bit, you think you get a little bit smarter, you end up somewhere in the middle, like a lot of us, and you're like, okay, LinkedIn, Instagram. Now I'm in the nuance of what's the best scheduling tool, what times do I post, what types of content are optimized for each platform, and then you spread yourself so thin that you end up doing a lot of things not as well. And then you reach the other side of that, the smartest people, the enlightened ones, and they realize, oh, well, doubling down my efforts on one platform might have been the smartest thing that I could have done. So I think it either helps you to be like very conservative or very enlightened, and anywhere in the middle there is kind of where you get burned. And I've seen that in myself, and I try and recognize that. I'm like, am I trying to do more for the sake of more, or am I just giving myself too much credit and how smart I actually am? Because usually I am. But I want to read back one thing that I read from you on your site. It's a little bit about the book, but you said so many marketers are stuck in reactive mode, overwhelmed, burned out, and constantly doing more but seeing less impact. So let's talk about that. What does that mean for you? I think it relates personally to your career, but how have you seen that in other business owners, and why is that a philosophy that you put forth in the book?
I think that the biggest problem is that marketers don't know how to align marketing with sales. But
Mm-hmm.
but as a business owner, what do you want from marketing? You want to have revenue, you want to have sales. You need to, make sure that you are
Mm-hmm.
building that is, driving revenue. And that's very unfortunate that marketers don't um, don't think of aligning marketing with sales and with business goals as much as they should maybe. So oftentimes it comes down to the lack of knowledge. They just don't know how to do that, or lack of communication because they just don't ask the right questions, you know. And oftentimes, of course, you know, CEOs don't appreciate marketing because they think that, you know, it's just, you know, something nice to
Mm-hmm.
have thing we have in house, but the actual money comes from the sales, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why what I'm sharing in my book is that marketing itself has a branding problem because
Mm-hmm.
here's what I mean. If you ask someone what sales does, it's very simple. They bring in revenue, right? They convert prospects into clients. But if you ask about finance, it's clear they manage money, right? But if I ask, what does marketing do? First of all, you will get 100 different answers,
Mm-hmm.
but most of us think of ads, right? You might say it's designs, it's branding, it's, you know, projects we handle, etc. But I think the lack of clarity here is a real problem because even the business owners don't know what to expect from marketing and what are the questions they should ask from marketers to make
Mm-hmm.
sure the marketing and sales are aligned. And trust
Mm-hmm.
me, even today, working with big corporations, oftentimes when I go to the in-house, when they invite me to, you know, to align marketing and sales, first thing what I do usually is that I want to speak to the sales guys. And my first question is, you know, what is marketing doing for you here? Do you know what marketing department even is doing? And they're like, "Oh, yeah, they're running some campaigns. There are, you know, great ladies
Mm-hmm.
there. We love them, etc." But
Mm-hmm.
that's not how marketing should be built on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you think of why marketing has this branding problem, because, you know, people can't just explain what marketing is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very hard because what we do banners, you know, for promoting. Of course, we use ads because we need promotion. We
Mm-hmm.
use, I don't know, story in the local paper. That's publicity or public relations we are handling. Then we should probably talk about you know, the benefits of our product or services. That's already sales, what marketing is also doing, right? Then we send follow-up emails. Then we are posting to social media. Then we need to decide. Then we need to encourage others to talk about our products and services, which is word of mouth marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Then we need to make sure that our website is ranking and, you know, people can find us organically. That's SEO. Then, you know, we should run targeted ads, that PPC, etc. So there's so many layers and so many
Mm-hmm.
things. So what I want to say is that marketing is like, you know, like this, running this orchestra, or how to put it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you really need to, when you have planned and executed all of this in a way that supports and shares the business goals, then this is marketing. But
Right.
so it's one thing. It's, you know, orchestrating the many things. And yeah, one day I came to this, I saw this research that said that almost 80% of CEOs don't trust marketing. And, but not because marketing doesn't work, it's because we haven't done a great job ourselves as marketers, you know, to showing them how it works or why it matters and how we can align it with the sales and with actual business goals. So
Mm.
that's the gap. I hope it was clear.
Yeah, that is. And I see it a lot just sort of navigating our own career. And there's this sort of outdated philosophy, especially in craftsmen, people that are founders, CEOs, that if the product, and it's not always directly stated by them, nor I think would they admit it, but a lot of them might say they're in this sort of outdated mindset that if the product is good enough, then it'll take care of itself. Marketing aside, all that stuff. And not only is that, I don't think that's true, but I also think that's just sort of a different way to look at it in terms of you have people that have different strong suits, and finding out where they fit in the puzzle that is success. That's why I want to circle back to your point on communication, because you can, when you have so many levers to pull from and when it seems so messy, I mean, we can't even quantify with what the exact thing that marketing is. Like it encompasses such a wide area of activities. You are a community manager. You have talked to hundreds. I mean, I don't even want to, it's like thousands of marketers. When you talk about all of these different areas, these niches, these parts of things that make up marketing, as a lifelong marketer, as someone who has sort of who is building their career in that, do you stress that it's maybe important for them to be able to associate with just one of those things, like brand themselves around their own skill set, or sort of just say, okay, I can be a full stack marketer? Do you encourage people to lean more into one of those specific avenues that we kind of touched on, or is it okay to just say, I do marketing in general? What's your recommendation there?
Well, my recommendation is always do things what matters for the business. So I know it's very hard, especially when it comes down to the social media, to let go of, I don't know, some channel, when you post there every, I don't know, daily or weekly, but it doesn't bring you any leads. It doesn't help you at all on the long term, long run. Of course, you should test different platforms. Of course, it depends where are your clients, etc., and your industry and products and services. But you shouldn't stick on things because of wrong reasons. That's what I see a lot, because everybody are in TikTok. Let's do that. Everybody are doing this. Let's do that. It's not the reason why you should do that. And I have seen accounts that don't have many followers, still bring in revenue, right? And vice versa. Might have thousands of followers, but still nothing happens. So what I mean, if you want to be a good marketer, you should, first of all, you should be balanced, of course, right? You should be always smart, efficient, productive, and results oriented, meaning you should always seek for this clarity and alignment with business goals. So that's the problem, that we don't do that because it's a hard way of building marketing.
Right.
Because it's so much easier, to put together another, I don't know, social media post and just, send out emails and do things. But do you know what actually works for your business? If people open up your emails, what are the, content they value, etc. How do you build that, know, like, and trust on your marketplace? So,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the hard way, and we don't want that. Of course, we want easy wins. It's so good to say, oh, I did, I don't know, 10 posts last week and I sent out 2 newsletters, right? So I'm done with marketing, but
Mm-hmm.
that's where it ends. This is
Yeah.
where this starts, really.
Yeah, and I think it's always, and this is so top of mind for me and a lot of, I think, maybe people who are navigating their careers, um, that it's always easier to, you identify as like the hard worker in the room. It's always easier to just do more, right? It's always easier to, because it's internally rewarding. It's very short term fulfilling to send another email, to make another post, to put yourself out there, and to do the quantifiable short term acts.
Mm-hmm.
It's a heck of a lot harder to do nothing and think, okay, how are these small inputs actually fulfilling the main goal? And taking that step back, I think is something that A, usually takes some kind of rude awakening from someone reminding you, or B, it's just becomes self-inflicted because you become so overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's a big topic that you talk about in the book. You talk about 5 different areas. You talk about mindset, strategy, systems, communication, and leadership. Um, of those 5, and I'm going to put you on the spot here, if you had to pick one of those that teams neglect the most, um, what do you, in your experience, your time consulting, working with organizations, running the community, what have you seen of those to be the most neglected, and what do you find yourself talking about and reminding marketers on the most?
That's a really good question, Andy. And I think it's communication. It's the
Mm-hmm.
fourth, because it really comes down to the assumptions, because we assume a lot of things in our lives. And also we assume that if we do something in marketing, that's how people perceive us, or this is how sales team perceive this information, or we assume that that post was so good that now sales will come.
Mm-hmm.
So and oftentimes we assume, or marketers assume, that their hard work will be appreciated because they're really doing hard work. And I see they're doing, extra hours, etc., because they are so overwhelmed. But at the same time, they are not asking the questions that bring better results. And because sometimes it comes down to the lack of confidence, because they're afraid of, what's the word I'm looking for? They think they may look like, not professional enough if they start
Mm-hmm.
questioning themselves. Are we doing things that we should, that that are actually, helping us with sales? And they don't know oftentimes how to approach to the sales guys and to the CEOs, because most these people are more straightforward, and they want to have results very quickly, and so on. So I would say communication, because it's the hardest. When when the first step is his mindset. Yes, we talk about, we all have 24 hours, and how we use time, makes the difference here, etc. But still, it really depends what you do during these hours. Are you communicating clearly in-house and externally, so that you are actually getting feedback from the client service, from the sales guys? So what is working, what is not working? Should we adjust some things we do in marketing, etc.? Or are we just doing again things and just being like this hamster in a wheel, or putting out fires all day? So I understand sometimes it's needed, but you should always think about, the what's the long-term goal.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, sorry, it was very long answer,
No.
but nobody ever asked me about if I were to choose one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why, I mean, it almost goes back to that topic of simplicity too, is like, and that's why it takes nuance, and that's why it's so hard to have like a cure-all recommendation when marketing is so much nuance. There's so much that goes into it. There's no one prescription that you can just say, okay, this is the problem that's in your specific industry, in your specific team.
Uh-huh.
But I think if people can walk away with like one that you can focus on, because especially in podcasts, a lot of it is philosophical, a lot of it is high level. And my goal for, especially these conversations is people, okay, what can I do in the next 24 hours? How are inputs changing direct outputs? I attended my first ever mastermind this weekend, and I left feeling very excited, but also very like overwhelmed, right? Because you have like all these inspiration and ideas, and I think that's the biggest value of community in and of itself, is that it generates these very exciting ideas. And I think what I've recognized in myself, and I see in a lot of other marketers too, is it can lead to overwhelm when you have a lot of things that you want to implement and act upon right away. So there's always that balance there. But sort of touching on balancing that philosophical with more tactical, I want to get, Mari, I want to get your input on two things, and that is storytelling and design. So if people go to your site, you have a whole page talking about your story, sort of talking about the way you are, your struggles, your hardships, everything that has sort of made you into this person that you are today, fearless, someone who's comfortable putting themselves out there and wanting to make the most out of every day, and also design. Like, to me, design is credibility. To me, design is trust, communication, and putting yourself in your own unique light to the point where you're differentiated. I think storytelling and design really have that intersection. But I want to talk to you about how people can get more comfortable telling your story, and also give you a platform, to give us yours as well.
Hmm. I think stories are most important things in our lives, and this, you know, this is something that is rooted in us, I would say, because, even hundreds and thousands of years ago, people came together next to the fireplace, to share stories and
Mm-hmm.
talk. And I have a feeling that people need that nowadays, especially more and more, because there's so many artificial things, out there, robots and
Mm-hmm.
everything. And we want to make sure that we are communicating with authentic people out there, and real people who have real struggles and obstacles and same dreams and hopes that we do. So I think that's very important. But coming to your question, how to do that or how to put yourself out there, well, I think that's a journey. If it comes to the personal stories, then it took me like 15 years before I came out with that as a
Mm-hmm.
business. And I never thought of that before I moved to Spain, and I lived there for a few years, and I had this coach from Spain, and the culture difference was very big. I'm from Northern Europe, right? And we don't talk about our feelings usually too much, etc.
Mm-hmm.
This guy there, Nathan, he asked me, why do you do that? And why are you like that? And why are you so resilient? And why is this happening? Why do you think where it comes from, etc., etc.? He just never stopped with his questions.
Mm-hmm.
Why? And I shared one day with him that I don't know, maybe it comes from my childhood. Maybe it's because what I have, experienced myself as a kid, etc. And then it all right like came out from me.
Mm-hmm.
He caught. He was the one who, named me Queen of Impossible. And I know it sounds very big at first, but it came, yeah, from my business coach from Spain who got to know me and helped, me put myself out there with my story as he found it so powerful. And as we worked with my story, then I also got to speak, got to share this there on the stage. And I remember after sharing my story, which is very personal and very, it was hard for me to even share that. And and I remember there was in the audience there were a lot of guys, and I mean entrepreneurs, and one guy came to me and said that, oh my God, I've been working as a lawyer all my life, and I've never thought of sharing stories, but I can so relate what you just shared because he had his own health problems, during his childhood, and I got so positive feedback, and people just wanted to continue this conversation with me, and I really experienced that this is something. This is the whole. It's the different level where you are connecting with people when you
Mm-hmm.
actually open yourself up and share your story and all the stories you have. I mean, with client stories, your successes, but also the things that didn't go as you wished, and so on. So I think there's as I started, there people are so afraid of being honest, and when somebody is, it's like, oh my God, I can so much relate.
Mm-hmm.
So it's only human.
Yeah, it adds its own layer um, to the relationship, to conversations, and when you resonate on someone, you feel like because so many times I feel like when we talk to someone, whether it's for the first time, um, or we're inherently maybe a little bit tentative about getting our message out there, there's something about having context to where you understand, okay, maybe this is why it's empathy. This is why this person maybe acted this way or could take what I say in a certain way. And it just fast tracks that path towards acceleration, or that fast track towards just mutual understanding a lot easier. And I mean, I see it in a lot of my network on LinkedIn has started to share more personal stories and really challenge themselves to do that. And you realize, like, you'll even say, and I'm almost hypocritical to the point where I'll be like, yeah, I'll tell stories. Like I'll talk about how I played golf, or I'll talk about my first internship, and you feel like you're sharing stories, but you're not really getting to the root core of it. To do that, I feel like is another level, and you really sort of have to put yourself in a different mindset to say like, because we're always so naturally guarded to where our mind a lot of times doesn't even go there as something that's even acceptable or um, normal to put out there, whether it's through content, whether that's through post, having sharing your story on a podcast and everything. But I mean, I know just from my experience, and from getting to know your story, and having read that and having this context going to this conversation, it helps a lot. So I encourage people to do that more. It's also a call to action for me to do that as well. Um, so one more thing I want to talk about, sort of landing the plane here. I'm first of all, like Mari, I'm fired up by everything you're doing. Super inspired by you, the way you put yourself out there, the way that you build community, and how you also manage companies, speaking events. You know, these projects. I know we all get imposter syndrome, and I'm not good at taking compliments either. But I think you should give yourself some credit and really just keep up the journey, because it's it fires me up to see from the outside, and I'm really excited for you, and I see nothing but good things coming up for you. So please keep it up. But I want to give you a platform to talk about two things, and that is the book. Where can people get it? When is it coming out? We'll sync on obviously the time for this episode coming out, but also Malaga Marketing Week. When's that coming up? A little bit of details on that, because it intrigues me. And even though, it may be out of cadence for my current traveling capacity, I'd love to hear more about it and share it with the audience.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the feedback, and I really do, because it has not been easy journey for me, because English is not my first language, and putting yourself out there, even your own language, is hard. But at the same
Yeah.
time, I'm struggling with making sure that I'm speaking correctly. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's been quite a journey. But thank you. I really appreciate your great feedback here. But yeah,
Sorry.
talking about the book. Thegreatestmarketer.com is the website address, and this is exactly where I share the 5 steps, how everybody can become the greatest marketer, because I really do believe that people can build up themselves as marketers, and this is how I have done that throughout the 20 plus something years myself, and it's very practical. I have added as many practical strategies and valuable tools and everything, that so that you can take the book, you can read it, be inspired, and then you can actually grab some practical tools to make sure that you can put it all into action. So it's I am talking about the critical skills, of course, and a mindset that the marketers possess, and I'm also clarifying in my book the marketing function and its alignment within every business, no matter
Mm-hmm.
how small or big you are. And I am challenging the belief that marketing is less important than sales.
Mm-hmm.
So that's uh, that's something I believe very deeply myself. And I am talking about the communication literacy, which is covering, let's say, the art of impact and understanding audience psychology, and I talk about how we assume things and how to be better communicator internally and externally. And as I said, it's very practical. So I'm even giving you all the questions you should ask from the
Mm-hmm.
board level to
Mm-hmm.
make sure marketing is aligned with things. And
It's awesome.
and last but not least, our favorite slogan is "Work smarter, not harder." So we
Mm-hmm.
really dive into how to work more efficiently, more productively. So everything that you are repeating in your business should be written down as a checklist, or some. You should have processes and systems in house to make sure that you can really scale your business to the next level. Otherwise, you keep on being busy. So that's a wrap up what I talk about in my book. And And yes, I have been running coaching groups for past 5-6 years already, and the marketing Malaga week, which is marketing week in Malaga, Spain, is really the 5 days filled with workshops, and this is exactly where we go through the same book steps day by day. So first step, mindset, is day one. Step two, strategy, is what we talk about and what we build there together. This is very practical workshop. Is the day two. Day three is all about how to work smarter, not harder, meaning how to build systems and processes in-house. And the fourth day is all about communication. And my favorite part of communication day is that last time we also did that during the workshop day, we learn about different networking strategies as well, and how to approach different personality types in sales and marketing. And in the evening, we will go out and network with the local business owners, because I have my own network there, and that is so fun. And the fifth day is, the wrap up and about the leadership, and this is where I'm planning my book launch as well this year. So I'm very excited.
Awesome. Yeah, it's going to be an exciting week. Man, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you again. Thank you for coming on. Like I said, we'll include all of those links and resources below and push it out and bang the drum as loud as we can. But I thank you for coming on. And like I said, nowhere but up for you guys. And always appreciate your time, Mari.